So, tell me, Hopkins, how are you doing here at Bulwark?
Great, sir. I just banged Edna in the cafeteria.
How dare you, Hopkins? Detention for a month.
But why, sir?
Nobody bids my prize stallion but me. Now keep your laundry clean, boy, or I shall clean it myself. That's the Bulwark way, boy.
Man, this is bogus.
Rockstar Games, the legendary developer behind iconic franchises like Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption, and who could forget their crown jewel, Earthworm Jim 3D? Well, they're also responsible for one of my all-time favourite games, Bully. Released in October 17, 2006, known as Canis Canimatic in the UK and other regions, this title often gets overlooked in the shadow of Rockstar's bigger games. But in my opinion, Bully stands as a superior experience to any GTA title, and I'm here to tell you why. And joining me is my good friend Switch Talker.
Hey there, thanks for having me.
Glad to have you. Now get in the corner and be quiet, or else it gets the hose again. First and foremost, the writing in Bully is top-notch. It's witty, clever, and packed with humour that remains timeless. In contrast, Grand Theft Auto, with its M rating, often leans into shock value and excess. While that can be entertaining, it leaves little room for the kind of sharp, smart writing found in Bully. Because of its setting and tone, Bully was able to craft a narrative that felt fresh, genuine, and truly engaging. The character development in Bully far surpasses anything I've seen in GTA. It's not just about chaotic mayhem or over-the-top satire of modern life. Bully has a heart. It explores the struggles and experiences of a teenager navigating the complicated and often ridiculous social dynamics of high school. And let's be honest, a lot of us can relate, whether it's dealing with cliques, bullies, the frustrations of school life, or even those teachers who seem like they exist solely to make your life harder. Bully taps into universal experiences that we've all faced at some point. In a sense, the game doesn't just ask you to step into Jimmy Hopkins' shoes. It feels as though it pulls you back into a time you've already lived. The charm and relatability are undeniable. It's a slice of life, wrapped in humour, clever dialogue, and memorable characters. The experience is something that stays with you long after you finish the game, which, in my opinion, is what makes Bully so special and unique.
It really is. This game gives the players who have been bullied a fantasy that they could never have in real life. A chance to fight back against the bullies that they can't stand up to in real life. Despite what the popular misconception about Bully may be, when you get into the story, it's about a kid who is willing to stand up to people who are bullying the ones who can't defend themselves, allowing the player to feel like the hero that they couldn't be at the moment, but could help inspire them to be like in real life.
Yeah, great point. The game pulls from our own experiences. After all, it's based on school life, something everyone has experienced. And in a sense, we played Bully before we even started the game. Now, before I dive in no way is this a video hating on GTA. I love GTA, and it's one of the best game franchises to date, but Bully is definitely better. I'll die on that hill.
Also, we should make it clear, we are not including the soon-to-be released GTA 6 cause no one has played that yet at the time of this recording. We are only talking about GTA games before 6.
Exactly. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to get a free old man.
Hey, I paid for my old man. Where's my goddamn old man, Cortex?
Ah, god damn it. He's chained up in my basement. He's not ready to be shipped yet. Alright, let's get into the heart of the game. The plot. And don't worry, for those of you who don't want spoilers, I'm just going to cover the intro first. The video is spoiler free for now, but we'll give a heads up when we go into spoiler territory. Bully starts with a bang. In the opening cutscene, we're introduced to Jimmy Hopkins, a 15-year-old who's already had a rough go of things. After a heated argument with his mother and stepfather, Jimmy is dropped off at Bulworth Academy, a prestigious but notorious boarding school, while his parents head off on a luxurious honeymoon. The stage is set and the game begins. Upon arrival at the school, Jimmy meets Miss Danvers, the rather cold secretary who ushers him inside to meet the headmaster, Dr. Crabblesnitch. He gives us a lecture and we get a glimpse of how the school is run, but more on the plot later. Right now, Switch Talker is going to teach us about classes in the game.
Thanks, Cortex. Alright students, listen up. Bully does a great job of immersing the player in the boarding school setting by having a class schedule mechanic that provides different school subjects for Jimmy to attend throughout the school day. This mechanic adds a nice meta context where, like real life, you have to balance your in-game time between the main story missions and your classes. Using the clock on your AOD, you're encouraged to attend a class at 9 AM and 1 PM.
I find the classes are a nice nice little slice of something simple and different from the main flow of the game, and it doesn't hurt that you actually benefit from passing each class.
Exactly. You have a music class where you go to realize your talent as the next Travis Barker, a math class that helps teach you that rockets are indeed faster than snails, an art class with a teacher who seems like she belongs on a site that Ron DeSantis just banned.
Well, this is an app where they plot the human feces that are found on the streets of San Francisco.
A helpful geography class that if you complete will show you where the extra items on the map are hiding, a chemistry class that helps you become the mad scientist you always wanted to be, an English class that if you complete will help you have a silver tongue with authority figures, bullies, and other classmates. For all you gearheads out there, we have shop class that helps you unlock different bikes, each class unlocking a better bike, a photography class that teaches the player how to be an IRL streamer,
Bet you think you're real cool now, bitch. You ain't
probably the worst class, biology, because trying to do these cuts on a console controller feels like a war crime.
Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me?
And of course, no school would be complete without a gym class and a pervy gym teacher, but we'll talk more on that later. Gym does help improve your fighting skills and weapon accuracy, so it's a worthwhile class.
All good stuff. That leads me to the game's weapons and combat system. Speaking of gym class, as you said, we have either wrestling to learn new different fighting moves and combos, and dodgeball which increases weapon accuracy. Also, chemistry allows us the ability to use our chem set in Jimmy's room in the boys' dorm. The chem set gives us projectiles like firecrackers which basically explode like a stick of dynamite. We can also make and use stun weapons such as stink bombs and itching powder, which can be very useful in helping you make a quick getaway or escape a tight spot, especially if you're not up to speed with the rest of the combat system. The chem set is limited to once per day, but after completing Chemistry 5, Jimmy has unlimited use of the chem set. We've also got the slingshot, which can be upgraded by helping Ernest in a story mission and of course by playing dodgeball in gym class. Then we've got one of the best characters in the game teaching us the best fighting moves and combos. This is an extremely funny Karate Kid reference, and well, there's a homeless man that lives on school grounds. He's a Korean war veteran that faced friendly fire in the line of duty who has PTSD and a fondness for strong liquor, like someone else we know.
Oh hey, is that the old man I've been waiting on?
Stay back, you son of a bitch, this is my old man.
Damn it!
Anyways, we meet him in a story mission and then are able to return 6 times, but we must find radio transistors and exchange them to him for training. He teaches us various different fighting moves and combos, and after learning the last of what he has to teach, he finishes building his little project he needed the transistors for and is abducted by aliens. We've also got the spud cannon and the bottle rocket launcher. We acquire these from the nerds and are arguably the strongest weapons in the game. The bottle rocket launcher can be inaccurate at times, but it can take out multiple enemies with one rocket, whereas the spud cannon is very accurate and only deals damage to one enemy.
Can I just say that the spud cannon is a godsend? Holy crap. If the game didn't require me to fight without it, I would spam it worse than Leon's knife in Resident Evil 4.
And finally, we have the rubber band ball, which is the most crazy and volatile projectile weapon in the game, but more on this later. Jimmy can also pick up various items in game and use them as weapons, be it baseball bats, bricks, trash can lids, umbrellas, or the janitor's brush. But be aware, as other students can use most of these weapons against Jimmy too. Also, other students can be seen fighting each other, and Jimmy can get involved if we choose to. When Jimmy is causing trouble, his trouble meter will slowly rise, but if he attacks little kids, girls, adults, or authority figures, his trouble meter will be filled to the max. The trouble meter is essentially our wanted system, and it pays to keep an eye on it.
Don't forget, if you want to get the pressure off of Jimmy, you can always dive into a trash can, or hide in the bathroom if you're far enough out of sight from the authorities.
Also, keep in mind, the combat and weapons in game varies between the different cliques we face off against.
Oh, the cliques! That's right. Can I talk about the different cliques in the school?
Well, I guess so, but it better be good.
Cool, no pressure. Of course, an authentic school experience wouldn't be complete without the different groups that Jimmy encounters throughout the game. We'll dive more into how they influence the story later, but for a basic overview, you've got your nerds, and these nerds in typical Rockstar fashion are your over-the-top mega nerds. But despite that, like Cortex said, they provide the craziest weapons in the game. Early on, the nerds just kind of get picked on and you don't see them fighting back, more running away or shielding themselves, but later in the game, they will get more brave and throw stink bombs and itching powder at their enemies. The preppies are your typical rich kid snobs.
Is it true you said I was inbred?
No, because first cousins is legal, my friend. Legal.
They are useful though, as they provide a gym for you to practice your hand-to-hand combat due to their love for the noble sport of boxing, which you'll see reflects in how they fight outside the gym. And another cool surprise we'll talk about later. There is a bully clique, categorized by the white untucked collared shirts and the blue jeans, but beyond getting Russell on your side, they don't have much impact in the story since they only rank above the nerds in the clique hierarchy. You'll really only see them picking on the nerds, and yourself if your reputation is low enough. They do the typical bully classics of wedgies and random acts of violence on their unsuspecting victims, but they and the next group are not afraid to use a bat or other weapon in combat against you. The Greasers are the next clique I'm speaking of. They also don't provide any upgrades or weapons, but if you have a high rep with them, they will jump in and help you with fistfights in the game. We are warned early in the game about these guys and not to underestimate them. Jimmy initially believes they just try to look tough, but facing more than 2 or 3 of these guys can prove problematic as they know how to fight and they don't fight fair. And then there are the jocks, who even Gary says run the school at the beginning. They are the hardest clique to fight hand to hand, and will make your life a nightmare when your rep gets low with them and you run into a group. They love to tackle Jimmy and pin him to the ground, so if you get in a fight with them, be prepared to spam a button to throw them off of you. They also have the most health of the other cliques that you fight. The townies are the last clique you meet in the game, and to be clear, not every citizen in Bulworth Town is a townie. After the school opens up and you can explore the neighboring town, I wouldn't recommend causing too much trouble with the townies, since they are all older and substantially stronger than Jimmy. They will tolerate his antics much less. All that being said, definitely don't mess with them, at least not until you're familiar with the combat system and are confident to take on a group of them. While the caricatures and stereotypes in the cliques are a little hyperbolic at times,
Filthy Democrat!
it fits into the world and setting that is established, and I'm always entertained when I interact with the different cliques in this game, regardless of my rep. One of the things that I like about the cliques in Bully is how much it actually has an influence over the game. With GTA San Andreas, yeah, there are other gangs in Los Santos that shoot at you, but there isn't an opportunity to form an alliance with certain gangs or others, so it doesn't matter how you treat them as you go through the game, cause they try to kill you no matter what. In Bully, however, the goal is uniting the different cliques, and as we go through each mission, we lose or gain respect with the different cliques. And while this is only a factor within the missions, it would have been really cool to see this adjustable through the actions outside of the mission.
Go have some fun in the communal showers. Ooh, I just dropped my soap. Please pick it up for me.
Yeah, similar to the honor system in Red Dead, only you've got a meter for each click. That sounds amazing. Your actions would have real consequences in game. Something I've always found cool about Rockstar's games is the different safe houses we can get. However, Bully definitely does this better than any GTA game. You've got either a crappy apartment or a mundane house. Whereas in Bully, we've got a different safe house themed to each click of the game, plus your dorm room. Jimmy's dorm room serves as the main hub of sorts of the game. All your in-game trophies are here, be it a race trophy, a gravestone, a street sign, framed photos of girlfriends or their panties. We've also got the chem set that I've already mentioned, and our bed and wardrobe. We unlock the other safe houses by beating the other cliques' challenges. The Nerds challenge is simple enough: beat the high score in an arcade game called Consumo. We play as a little sumo character and eat the good food while avoiding the rotten food, other sumos and pufferfish. Anyways, we beat their high score and unlock the basement of the comic book store. It's got an arcade machine, a drinks machine, a wardrobe, a bed, and the nerds can come and go as they please. And the music playing sounds like it's pulled right out of fantasy. The Preppies challenge is beating them in boxing matches. Simple enough really, and in doing so we unlock the Lighthouse, which is basically a barroom of arcade games and the usual paraphernalia. It's very flashy in the interior design, being a former hangout spot of the Preps. It serves as a melee armory of sorts, and the music inside is classy. The Preps don't actually enter but can be found loitering outside on the beach. The Greasers challenge is just kicking the crap out of a bunch of them. Doing so we unlock the Blue Balls pool house. This place is a dump. It's literally a bedroom and some destroyed toilets, with the usual bed, wardrobe and save point. The Greasers won't enter the pool house, but they're everywhere outside, so make sure you're on good terms with these guys. It has rock music playing, and other than that I really don't have much to say. On to the Jocks. The Jocks challenge is beating the Jocks at dodgeball, which in my opinion is alright, but it should have been beating their wrestling team. Anyways, the Jocks challenge isn't difficult difficult, it's just dodgeball after all. And once we beat them, we unlock the Jock Clubhouse, which is just a gym slash store for sports equipment. The jocks never enter, but bear in mind, once you step outside you're on the football field. Listening to the music in the Jocks Clubhouse explains why they're always so enraged. As always, a bed, a wardrobe and a safe point are located inside, but it really wouldn't be my favourite safe house. On to the Townies. The Townies challenge is again similar to the Greasers. To just beat the living piss out of them, then it's yours. The Townies hideout has a bed, wardrobe and safe point, plays some metal themed music, and it's basically an industrial warehouse type of building. Now, the bullies don't really have a clubhouse, but we can call the boys' dorm their clubhouse. I mean, while other cliques can be found here, the bullies are usually the most present alongside non-clique students. Every safe house has a safe point, but other than that, we can save our game by visiting Miss Danvers.
Speaking of safe houses, as Cortex alluded to, each one is a unique location that really helps bullies stand apart from GTA and other Rockstar games. We have the boarding school setting. With that alone, you have the boys' dormitory where your chemistry set lives like Cortex said, but it's also a great place to relieve any pent-up anger in the game because you can wail on everyone in your dorm and the prefects will never come in, not even if you're assaulting people with the fire extinguisher or pulling the fire alarm. I should clarify, I did not take pleasure in those last two. I was purely curious if anyone would come in if I beat up enough people. And they didn't. I feel terrible. But the dorm is also home to the worst arcade minigame in the game. I would rather do Consumo 1,000 times over Future Street Racers any day of the week, but let's refer to it as go-karts.
Ugh, I agree, I hate go-karts. I can't think of anything that sucks more, but thankfully, there's not much to hate in Bully besides go-karts.
You can also raid the girls' dorm, but be careful, cause there is a teacher roaming the halls that will chase you down and try to kick you out. You can hide in the closets to avoid her, and there's another point this will come up, so remember that for later.
Somebody do something!
Of course, no school would be complete without a robust library. You even have to act like you're in a real library by remaining quiet. If you're loud, you'll be kicked out. Another fixture of any school is the hole, where you can find the old man that Cortex says isn't ready for me.
Are you seriously still complaining about this? You know what? Fine. Here's one. Take 'em.
You also have the gymnasium and football field. If you need some extra supplies, you can always go to the gym and break into lockers to find some extra goodies. Something fun that I like to do just to be an extra bit of an asshole is I'll turn all the sinks and showers on in the bathroom and run out, leaving them running when no one is in there.
Wait, are you trying out for the third member of the Wet Bandits? If so, tell Harry and Marv I said hi.
Also, something I'm always interested in checking in video games is mirror reflections. It's always such a toss-up going back to these games and wondering, do I have a reflection or am I a vampire? Bully doesn't disappoint. Look at that handsome mug. There is also the shop building where you attend, you guessed it, shop class. The Greasers also hang out around here if you visit outside of class, and your bike you can upgrade in shop class is stored in a garage facing the parking lot. An interesting detail is the only time cars are parked here is if Jimmy gets detention during chapter 3 and has to shovel snow. 3 cars will then park in the parking lot. When the snow melts, no more cars park there. Of course, no school would be complete without a school. This is where you'll take art, chemistry, biology, math, geography, English, music, and kind of photography. It's where you start in the class anyway. The school is not just for attending class though. Like the gym, there are lockers to break into and find some handy supplies, textbooks to throw, and occasionally additional clothing items. It's not a bad place to skate around if you want to practice shredding, and the trophy case is always fun to smash up. Now, all ready for a game that came out in 2006, that sounds like a huge map.
But wait! There's more!
Bulworth the town becomes accessible to you after chapter 1. It doesn't fully unlock until chapter 5, but first we get Old Bulworth Vale, the upper class neighborhood in town where your beach house Cortex mentioned resides. You can also take part in your first bike race here, and there is an amusement park that you can go to and play carnival games to win tickets and prizes. There's also an interesting part of the story that we'll talk about later. Just down the road is the church. This place gives me the heebie-jeebies. During the day it's full of townies, and people crying at the gravestones. But it gets more freaky at night, cause if you go to the church, you'll hear a preacher reading the books of Genesis and Revelations, and once in a while, a wolf howl. The next section of town you unlock is New Coventry. This part of town is a rundown, poor urban area. It has several stores, only a few of which aren't closed down. This is the greasers section of town, and they really run wild here, as you'll see when we come to it. This is where you take the Blue Balls pool hall from the greasers, and this section of town is characterized by its rundown industrial look that shows this area's prosperity is a thing of the past. Interestingly, greasers and townies can be found fighting in this area, and you'll occasionally find a preppy throwing eggs at the buildings. A few other key points of interest here is the BMX park, where you can take Jimmy to practice for the X Games. The tattoo shop Tasteful Tattoos is also here. A condemned condominium called the New Tenements is a hangout for the greasers that still houses a few residents. And the junkyard, which, interesting fact, even though it looks like an outdoor section of the game, it's actually coded in the game as an indoor area, which is why it can't be accessed except for at the end of Chapter 3. In between Old Bulworth Vale and New Coventry is Bulworth Town, which is considered the commercial district of the area. The comic book shop Dragonwing Comics, where the nerds hang out, and is here, as well as the fire station. The Happy Mullet is the only barbershop in Bulworth Town, which is located across the street from the Happy Diner and the Yum Yum Market. Jimmy can get haircuts here and more. The In-N-Out Motel is a rundown, mostly empty motel just west of the underpass that separates Bulworth Town from New Coventry. Many of the windows are broken and some of the doors are blocked off with crime scene tape. It is the only off-campus hangout of the bullies. If that wasn't creepy enough, the owner, Mihailovich, has some dark rumors surrounding him. If you go to the hotel at night, strange noises can be heard, and it's speculated that Mihailovich kills and stores the corpses of his victims in the motel.
God damn, is this guy Norman Bates or something? Oh, I see the reference now.
The piece de resistance of the town, Come Hither, is also located in this section of town. And oh boy, we will come back to you.
We? I don't know about we. I visit this place every Tuesday evening when I'm fit. Oh crap, my wife's home. Never mind.
Blue Skies Industrial Park is the last section of the map that you unlock in the game. Aside from a small residential neighborhood, it is dominated by factories and warehouses. The residential area also sets itself apart by more closely resembling the southern United States. Furniture can frequently be found on porches, homes have deteriorating paintwork and broken windows, and there are rusted out automobiles in the grass. As someone who lives in the South, I can confirm these aren't some liberal Yankee developer stereotyping. That's how a lot of places down here just look.
What'll it be, fellas? Mustard or ketchup?
This is the primary hangout of the townies. Students rarely come to this part of town, so you'll see townies picking on hobos and getting into fights with them. Blue Skies is also home to the Happy Volts Asylum. With its rumors of werewolves and aliens, it almost sounds like an opportunity for Kratos and Isaac Clarke to team up. But something interesting is during free roam, not a single patient is seen in the cells, though they can be heard screaming. The asylum is patrolled by the orderlies who wear white uniforms and look for trespassers. This interior is the most interactable in the entire game. If Jimmy wears the black ninja outfit or orderly uniform, he can explore the asylum without getting in trouble for trespassing. Seriously, if all of this wasn't enough to convince you that Bully's locations, while smaller in size to GTA maps, have way more character, attention to detail, stand out more, and are definitely more interactive than any GTA map to date, then nothing will.
Okay, my turn. All this talk about locations and maps brings me to the vehicles we use to get around the place, and some cool races we can enter too. So let's start off with the first vehicle, Jimmy's Feet. So Jimmy's Feet is probably the best, no, I'm only joking. While running on foot is probably going to be the most used means of transportation at times, it definitely isn't a vehicle. No, the first vehicle we unlock is the trusty and always reliable skateboard. We unlock this in a story mission in Chapter 1, which I'll explain later, and from then onwards, it'll always be accessible in Jimmy's inventory. No, it can't be confiscated, no, it can't break, and no, it can't be lost. It's a permanent fixture in the inventory, which is so handy, and while it's not the fastest means of transportation, this definitely makes it the most reliable. Next up, we've got bikes, and these definitely range in quality. For the most part, they're a faster means of transportation than a skateboard, but for obvious reasons, they're not always available. While easy enough to obtain when off-screen, school grounds, there are certain parts of the map such as the asylum or the dam where you're gonna have to use the skateboard or hoof it. Same goes for the other vehicles in the game. Bikes can be purchased from the bike store in town, but this feels ultimately pointless when, as mentioned by Switch Talker, we've got shop class, and of each class we unlock a better bike than the last. We use the bikes quite a lot in Bully. Other than getting around, they play big roles within the story missions, but that's not all. We can also enter into bike races, which are heaps of fun. Not the most challenging if you're a video game master like me, but definitely a fun aspect of the game. We have races located in Old Bulworthville, Bulworth Town, and New Coventry. Beating each race earns us a little prize money, but the real prize is making sure that every other student knows they are pathetic worms who will grow up to have wives, and when they're buying those wives they won't be able to think about anything else other than damn, Jimmy Hopkins, how could he do this? How could he be better than me? And then they'll lose their jobs and wait, sorry, I got a little sidetracked there. Where was I? Oh yes, races. Yeah, beat them all and earn a trophy. And one final note about the bikes is that they have their very own theme, which is very fitting. Next up, we have the Vespa. Now to unlock this puppy we need 75 tickets at the carnival, so we're gonna have to spam High Striker as it's the fastest and easiest means of tickets at the carnival, and bam, go to the prize tent and buy it. Straight off the bat you'll notice it's loud and slightly annoying, however it's faster than bikes and you look like an absolute boss spinning around on this thing. Unfortunately, you can't substitute bikes for the Vespa in missions, and it doesn't have any races of its own, but it is a pretty sweet vehicle to unlock considering its easy method. However, it pales in comparison to the granddaddy of them all, the Speed Demon, the Lightning McQueen of vehicles in Bully, the classiest and sexiest vehicle of all time, the go-kart. Now I know we ripped on the arcade game go-karts, I say that loosely, it's not actually its name, which sucks the Santa Hobo sweaty unwashed balls, but my good god, this beast gets me all hot and bothered. This thing is faster than any vehicle in the game. It's faster than the cars, which we cannot drive, and when we're driving this thing we are essentially invulnerable, as no one can catch us. So we can commit all manner of crimes, and if we jump on this bad boy quick enough, we're safe. Wanna beat up the little kids? Kinda messed up, but you're good. Wanna hit authority figures? Go for it. Wanna get in this thing and drive over everyone without actually causing much damage to them? It's kinda pointless, but still fun. Sure, go for it. The go-kart may only be unlocked in Chapter 5, but with a handy dandy little cheat, you can unlock it as early as Chapter 2. To unlock the go-kart, we must make our way to the carnival and over to the go-kart track. Enter and win each race against each clique, with the track slightly changing each race. Once we do this, we unlock the crash helmet, and we can also now do the go-kart street races, two of which are in Old Bulworthville, and the final being in Blue Skies. After beating the street races, we unlock the go-kart, but with the final race being in Blue Skies, and Blue Skies being unavailable until Chapter 5, that's why the go-kart is unavailable until Chapter 5. Unless you do every race, then make your way to this spot, and do exactly what I do right here. Then we've got access to Blue Skies, and as a result, the final go-kart street race, ultimately meaning we have access to the go-kart as early as Chapter 2. All the go-kart races are very fun. The other contestants in the race treat it more like a round of bumper cars, but once you pass them, it's not too difficult to stay ahead. The races have this cool theme too. Essentially, the go-kart far surpasses every other vehicle, but is very limited in that you can only find it in one place, right beside the bike garage at school, which is also where you'll find the bike and Vespa. But there are other bike garages around the map for easy access. However, the go-kart may only be found at the garage on school grounds. All this is to say, while GTA may have a vast range of different vehicles and modes of transportation, Bully's vehicles, like the rest of the game, have character and charm that just feels missing from any GTA game. Also, the races in GTA feel very lackluster to me. Bully's races feel comical, almost like kart racing games, with a touch of realism. But when it comes to GTA's races, they strive for realistic street racing, and honestly, if I wanted to do that, I'd just jump on Need for Speed, Forza or Gran Turismo. Yes, I would like the races to be a little more challenging, but what odds? I still think they're very fun, even if they are pretty easy. Anyway, now you've got an idea of how you make your way around Bulworth Academy and the town of Bulworth, and how you'll make your way from mission to mission and from jobs to errands.
I think it's important to highlight that jobs and errands differ slightly from the missions and supplemental quests in the game. Similar to how each location is different in the game, there are different errands that can be performed in each section of town. The errands reward you with in-game currency and occasionally an unlockable, but don't progress the story like the main and side missions. The grand total of errands and jobs that Jimmy can run in the Scholarship Edition is 48. It used to be 50 in the original version, but the Scholarship Edition removed card damage, so those missions were patched out. Wait. Holy shit. Can we stop for a second? 48. Yo, Cortex, listen. I'll talk about the most interesting ones I like in each part of town, and if there are any you like, I don't mind if you jump in, but 48? God damn, I gotta get out of this dungeon eventually. It's homemade pizza night tomorrow night, damn it.
I was down in the bloody mines for 14 hours today!
Oh, so you get pizza and I get sloppy seconds of the stuff you don't want on my own channel. Well, I suppose I'll be okay after I caress my 90-year-old neighbour's moustache while squeezing his man boob. Don't tell my wife.
Since I talked about the school, then the town when I went over locations, I'll keep things fresh. Let's discuss the errands in town. In Bulworth Town, of all the errands that you can run, some of the first that come to mind for me is Shipwrecked. You get it from a younger student, Pedro de la Hoya, and it requires you to swim out to the other side of the lake in Old Bulworth Vale, where you'll see a pirate ship sinking all by its lonesome. Make your way onto it, you can net yourself a G&G card and 15 bucks. Can we talk about how the devs just randomly put a pirate ship here that serves no other purpose than this errand? You do not see this kind of attention to detail anymore, very rarely in GTA. Swim It is another interesting one in that area that you have a chance to do when interacting with Justin Vandervelde. Beating his swim record is a nice and challenging minigame, and the rewards aren't too bad themselves. One of the funniest ones is the Great Escape where you help Mrs. Lisburn escape the old folks' home. And they say young people don't take care of the elderly.
I love the young people.
Don't forget you can also mow lawns and pick up a paper route for some extra cash and some bonus rewards. While the lawn mowing can be a little tedious, I gotta admit I love that paper route. Oh, and one of my favourites is getting to deliver food, which unlocks one of the snazziest outfits in the game. It also makes me feel special, delivering joy to every happy customer with a smile.
There's also Crab Traps, Lost Bear, Jumping Man, Mailman the Underdog, Tag Bulworth Vale, and The Widow. The carnival has one, but it's not that interesting, just asking you to photograph 3 of the carnival rides. In Bulworth Town, the townies themselves have things for you to do. Prank Downtown is unlocked when you talk to Otto Tyler, who wants you to prank 3 adults by hitting them with water balloons. This errand is worth it because as far as I know, this is the only way to unlock water balloons as an extra weapon. Strange Hobo is where you meet, and giving him $1 nets you a sweet cowboy hat. But that's not the last time we hear from Handy. Easy Medication is an errand that makes the pharmacy relevant. Handy asks you to pick up some drugs for him from there, but instead of going into the store, you root through the trash in the back of the store. Reminds me of treasure hunts with my uncle. Ah, better days.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
That's too damn bad!
Being a sucker for dogs like I am, I can never turn down Dr. Bambalo and Bethany Jones when they ask for help finding their lost dogs. Detective Jimmy is a cool mission because you get to help expose the corruption within the police force by getting proof that Officer Williams is accepting bribes. You can also perform the errands Smoke Free, Stolen Bike, and Lost Jacket. Things take a turn for the spicy reality TV drama in New Coventry when Mr. Buckingham asks you to spy and take pictures of his wife cheating on him.
You can also do a good deed by agreeing to escort Miss Abby to the tenements in homeless help, and play exterminator by taking out the rats in the tenements for Officer Morrison in Rats Out, or escort a respectable lady to the In-N-Out motel in escort service.
There is also Spaz Delivery, Tag Poor Area, Photo Taggers, and Egg Tenements. Blue Skies Industrial Park has some really fun errands as well. You can imagine what it's like to work for Xfinity and Cable Guy, where you run around destroying TV dishes on the sides of houses for Mr. Costello. Mr. Costello also asks you to bring your professional exterminator skills to the docks to kill more rats. When you get to the asylum, Gregory approaches you with the Crazy Farm errand, where you have to chase down 2 escaped patients, Henry and Otto. There is also another egging mission where Otto asks you to egg the greasers in Blue Skies. And additionally we have shipping and receiving, as well as lost cargo. As you can see in the town alone, there are a crap ton of missions, but inside the school there are even more. The first errand you're ever assigned is when you are asked by Pete to bring a package to the girl that he likes, Beatrice.
And then soon after, Jimmy cooks Petey and Bucky with the same hoe. My man is brutal.
That's Darwinism, baby. From there, Algie asks you to escort him to his locker to defend him from the bullies so he can retrieve a library book that he needs to get back to the library. Talking to Sheldon in Chapter 1 will give you the pull the fire alarm mission and teaches the player you can basically pull these whenever you want. If you don't figure it out on your own, taking the lock-picking mission from Gloria where she asks you to break into 3 lockers will definitely teach you to make sure to check the lockers for goodie. The errands in the school really give you a sense of how sick some of these kids are. Pedro asks you to stuff 3 kids in a trash can, Casey wants you to stuff 2 kids in lockers, Constantino wants you to egg the girls' dorm, while Karen Johnson asks you to do the boys' dorm, and Sheldon has you drop a firecracker in the toilet.
Dude, you're forgetting 2 of the most important errands in the game. Grabbing ass-wiping paper for some dude on the shitter, and escorting the local bicycle back to the girls' dorm. Oh yeah, you can also chuck flowers or chocolates in lockers for students who are pitching tents for other students, if you know what I mean.
Some additional side activities that aren't really jobs or errands include playing a few different sports like penalty shots or dodgeball, although I really think wrestling should have been made available at any time too. And some arcade games we've already mentioned, Consumo and Go-Karts, aka Future Street Racer, but there's also Nut Shots where we play as a squirrel firing nuts at wasps and eagles, and then there's the best one, Monkey Fling, where we fire crap at spiders. Something amazing about the errands, jobs, and side activities in this game is they are optional. You can ignore them if you want to, but it is so rewarding to engage with these side activities because it not only gives you rewards, but it fleshes this world out and teaches the player the game mechanics through its gameplay, and the extra context and well-told jokes make these worth doing beyond the obvious rewards.
In Bully, you can change how Jimmy looks by choosing different outfits and hairstyles. While it's not as detailed as other games, there's still a lot of variety. Jimmy can wear a school uniform, casual clothes, or even outfits that match different social groups at school. For example, if Jimmy wears a jersey or Letterman jacket, he can fit in with the jocks, while a preppy look could make him blend in with the rich kids. There are different styles for each shop and each location. For example, Old Bulworth Vale offers rich kid duds, whereas Bulworth Town offers cheaper, more casual clothing, and New Coventry offers up some punk outfits. The school also offers up a selection of different school uniform and gym clothing. Jimmy can also get a bunch of different tattoos by visiting the shop in New Coventry or Uncle Billy Bob's trailer in Blue Skies Industrial Estate.
You cut pizza with a knife? Just use a pizza cutter.
You can also change Jimmy's hairstyle by visiting a barber in the game. The haircuts don't affect gameplay, obviously, but they let you personalize Jimmy and make him look how you want. This adds a little extra fun and lets you express yourself through the character. And again, similar to the clothing stores, each location in the game will offer different selection of haircut styles. Collecting items is another big part of Bully. There are lots of things to find around the school and town. Collecting all the items can give you rewards or just be fun to do. Here's a quick rundown of different collectibles in the game. Number 1. Rubber bands. Rubber bands are scattered all around the game world. There are 75 in total, and collecting them is a big challenge. Some are hidden in tricky places, and finding them all unlocks the chaos and mayhem-inducing rubber band ball. Number 2. G&G cards. The G&G cards are collectible trading cards connected to the nerds. There are lots of these cards hidden in different locations, and collecting them gives Jimmy the Grotto Master outfit. Alright, looking fine enough to hit on you, niece. Where you at, girl? Number 3. Gnomes. Gnomes can be found throughout the map in different locations, like on people's lawns, in the park, or even at the asylum. Breaking them all makes the midget at the carnival happy and unlocks a sweet gnome outfit. Number 4. Radio transistors. Alright, so I've already explained the transistors, so I'm not gonna go in depth here. Just find them all early in the game and unlock those fighting moves. Customization and collectibles are important because they make the game more interesting. Changing Jimmy's look helps you connect with the character, while collecting items gives you rewards and adds extra things to do. The collectibles in particular encourage you to explore the world and come back to the game after completing the main story. These features also tie into the game's theme about school life, where your appearance and social group matter. By collecting items and customizing Jimmy's look, you experience how Jimmy fits into different groups and tries to figure out where he belongs at Bulworth Academy. Okay then, I think with that we've covered just about everything. Oh wait, yes, the plot, yeah. This is the point in the video which we'll dive into spoilers for the story of the game, so anyone who wishes to avoid this, now's your chance. The game begins with Chapter 1, titled Making New Friends and Enemies. A quick refresher, Jimmy is a troublesome 15-year-old, is dumped at Bulworth Academy by his mother and stepfather while they enjoy a long-ass honeymoon. Jimmy meets the cold Miss Danvers, who instructs him to make his way inside to meet the headmaster, Dr. Crabblesnitch, who is more than welcoming and friendly to Jimmy.
Yes. So, you must be Hopkins.
Uh-huh.
What? Uh-huh. What?
I meant yes, sir.
Very good. Now let me see. You've done a lot of naughty things, haven't you? Vandalism, graffiti, bad language, violent conduct, disrespecting staff. Oh, I'm scared of you, Hopkins.
Come on, give me a break.
Yes, I've never met a boy like you. Never in all my life. Hopkins, you're quite the nastiest little boy I have ever encountered. Tell me, why should I waste my time on you?
I don't know.
Because it's my calling. It's what I do. You excel at causing trouble, and I excel at fixing little boys like you. At making you into respectable members of our community here at the Academy. I've got a good feeling about you, boy. A feeling you and I are going to be great friends. You keep that nose clean, boy, or I shall clean it myself. Miss Danvers, are you back yet?
Yes, Headmaster. And I got your tea.
You are good to me, Miss Danvers.
No more than you deserve, Headmaster.
Take our new friend Hopkins here and show him around the school and get him properly attired.
Certainly, Headmaster. Come along, boy. I haven't got all day.
And boy, remember, you will have a clean nose. So keep it clean, or we'll clean it for you.
This gives us the general idea of what's in store for us when it comes to the staff of Bulworth Academy, and Jimmy's rebellious attitude towards authority. Furthermore, we have a glimpse into his background, but not much. It's left somewhat ambiguous while still giving us the general idea of who he is and what he's like at the beginning of the story. From here, Jimmy is sent to the boys' dorm to put on his school uniform. However, Jimmy is interrupted by the clique of bullies waiting to ambush him just outside the dorm, hoping to beat him up and give him a hard time, but these boys don't know who they've messed with, and Jimmy proceeds to absolutely stomp ass. That is, until the bullies' leader Russell approaches. Jimmy is saved by the bell, so to speak, when Mr. Hattrick turns up to break up the fight, and Jimmy avoids a trip to the hospital. Jimmy is scolded for not wearing his uniform, even though he was on his way to put it on and got attacked by the bullies. Inside the boys' dorm, Jimmy meets the somewhat confrontational yet friendly Gary. He shows Jimmy around the boys' dorm and teaches us that soda replenishes health in the game. Jimmy changes into the school uniform and then walks Pete Kowalski, who Gary describes as the girliest boy in school. Pete is probably the nicest guy in the game. He serves as a loyal best friend to Jimmy throughout the story and gets unfairly bullied by Gary. Jimmy asks the two to leave his room so he can unpack, and shortly after Gary shows him around the school, it's here Jimmy learns some cool tricks like picking lockers and hiding from authority in trash cans. Jimmy avoids another beatdown from Russell, saves the hottest chick in school's chocolate, and gets a sloppy kiss as a reward. And then Gary takes him to the cafeteria to teach him about the different cliques in the game. He already met the bullies, but here he sees the nerds, the preppies, the greasers, and the jocks. Later, Jimmy is having another conversation with Dr. Crabblesnitch just outside the school when the two get into an argument over Jimmy's behaviour and how the school is run and full of bullies and maniacs, which is brushed off by Dr. Crabblesnitch, calling it hijinks, and instructs Jimmy to behave himself. From out of nowhere, a bully who is listening in on the conversation accuses Jimmy of being a teacher's pet and hits him in the face with a slingshot. Jimmy chases after him and follows him behind the auto shop used for shop class. Jimmy fights several of his friends, then knocks him down from a raised platform and steals his slingshot. Throughout the rest of Chapter 1, Jimmy gets acquainted with the nerds and protects them from the bullies and jocks. He meets the homeless man who lives on school grounds, aces a few classes, acquires the interest of the nerdy girl, plays a bunch of pranks on Halloween, and learns a bunch of new fighting moves, all up until the point where Gary needs his help. Jimmy enters the boys' dorm to find Gary doing this. Okay, and Gary asks for his help. No, not with that, no. Jimmy follows Gary to the parking lot only for Gary to start a fight between Jimmy and the bullies. After Jimmy beats up the bullies, he follows Gary into the school basement. After a long process of opening doors and clearing paths while mysterious music looms on in the background, Jimmy is betrayed by Gary in the pit. You see, all throughout Chapter 1, Gary has been leading Jimmy down this train of thought that the two of them would stand up to the bullies and take over the school, leading it with an iron fist. However, behind the scenes, Gary was a snake. He was plotting his own takeover of the school, which didn't involve Jimmy, but I'll let you watch the scene play out.
So, Jimmy boy, here we are, the hole. The place where this school separates the men from the boys, the wheat from the chaff, and all that nonsense.
Okay, so what's that got to do with standing up to people, keeping them in line?
This is where I stand up to you, my friend.
What are you talking about?
I know you hate me, Jimmy boy. I know you said all that stuff about me behind my back.
What are you talking about?
Don't play innocent with me. You want to run this school? I want to run this school. Only one of us is gonna make it. And it's gonna be me! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and morons, I give you Russell!
Oh, man.
Me, Russell!
Gary, now I hate you.
I know, Russell. Go beat that little jerk who said that nasty stuff to me about your mom and those barnyard animals.
What? Come here! Russell wants vengeance!
Jimmy then fights Russell in the pit and eventually wins, giving him the opportunity to explain to Russell that there are plenty of awful kids in school who deserve a beating and that Russell has been picking on the few who don't, including him and Pete. And with that, we come to the end of chapter 1 and the beginning of chapter 2.
Hey, one sec before I do this part. I'll be right back. One sec. Give me a sec, guys. Just one sec. Okay. That's much better. Anyways, Chapter 2 is titled Rich Kid Blues, and it continues the story of Jimmy Hopkins as he navigates his life at Bulworth Academy. After the introductory events, Jimmy finds himself adjusting to a life at Bulworth Academy, primarily figuring out how he's going to navigate the school now that he knows he's a target of Gary's schemes.
A pugilist.
No, sir, I never pugilized in my life.
Really? And that you've been saying some entertaining things about me and some barnyard animals.
No, I never said that.
Well, I listen to things, Hopkins. You try and stay out of trouble.
Gary sets up another clique against Jimmy, this time with the preps. I can really appreciate the comedic writing in this chapter aimed at these inbred rich kids. There are so many curveballs thrown our way, and it's hilarious.
Tell me, Hopkins, is it true you said I was inbred? No, because first cousins is legal, my friend. Legal.
Thanks to doing some good deeds for them in Chapter 1, Jimmy has some favor with the nerds and spends this chapter building up his reputation with the preppies. Jimmy completes a series of objectives, which include dating the rich girl who's planning to marry her first cousin? It's legal, you know. Only brothers and sisters are illegal, according to this game.
You know, it used to be brother and sister until it was made illegal.
We meet the hot lunch lady Edna, who asks us to get her some things in town, have our first bike race, and a little beach rumble. Throughout this chapter, you get a deeper look at the town of Bulworth. This is the chapter where Jimmy's reputation with the preppies will fluctuate quite a bit, which includes things like unlocking the beach safe house and getting better with your hand-to-hand combat by engaging with the preppies in boxing. Chapter 2 also contains Cortex's favorite mission, Penny Raid. While exploring, you run into the gym teacher, Mr. Burton, who is out looking for naughty boys in the wrong part of town. His words, not mine.
I'm looking for naughty boys. I mean, I'm looking for naughty boys in the wrong parts of town.
He claims to be in charge of laundry this week and forgot to collect the laundry from the girls' dorm. I'm sure it's not weird I haven't seen a single laundry room at school, but nonetheless, you sneak into the girls' dorm after hours, avoid as many of the students and teachers as you can, and retrieve the laundry that the gym teacher wants. Man, when you stop and think about it, Chapter 2, while not pushing the story forward all that much, definitely highlights the struggles and vices of the teachers in the school. The mission Hattrick vs. Galloway is another great example of that. The scene begins with the math teacher, Mr. Hattrick, berating the English professor who taught us how to talk our way out of any problem. Hattrick is completely appalled to see Galloway doing what any good doctor, lawyer, or policeman does on a regular basis, drinking on the job. The buzzkill decides that he's going to report Galloway to Crabblesnitch. Hattrick, before leaving, tries to demand an explanation for why Galloway is acting this way, and Galloway gives him a perfectly reasonable response.
Drunk! In charge of children! What kind of monster drinks in front of children? Parent?
Jimmy comes in and Galloway begs Jimmy for help to find and get rid of all of his booze bottles before Hattrick can report and bust him. Jimmy agrees, and the top-notch writers for this game found a way to sneak one more joke on before the cutscene ends. Galloway hands Jimmy the bottle, Jimmy leaves, and Galloway just pulls out another one from his desk. I would not be surprised if it's not a typical desk drawer, but instead a Lazy Susan of alcohol bottles. The jokes don't end there though, because after we collect all the bottles and deliver them to Miss Phillips, we see her taking them into the abandoned bus, where our hobo friend and her use them to burn the midnight oil, talking about school, aliens, and showering in public fountains. Chapter 2 is concluded when you get yourself into the Preppies fighting tournament. Beating all of their competitors, Jimmy proclaims himself the new leader of the Preppies. Derby Harrington arrives and upon hearing Jimmy is a champion, declares it unacceptable.
You filthy Democrat!
And challenges Jimmy to a dirty fight. Chasing him up to the bar in the gym, you fight through waves of Preppies until you can officially take Derby down and assert your dominance over the Preppies, ending Rich Kid Blues. As Chapter 2 concludes, Jimmy has become more embroiled in the school's politics and cliques. While trying to earn respect, he finds himself making enemies and having to deal with the fallout of the pranks orchestrated by Gary. The chapter sets the stage for more complex relationships and missions as Jimmy's at Bulworth Academy continues. This chapter helps establish the tone of the game, focusing on Jimmy's rise to power, his interactions with the various school factions, and his slowly growing distrust of Gary. It also expands on the game's core mechanics, such as missions, exploring the school, and interacting with different groups of students. There isn't much plot progression in this chapter, like I said, but the character and world building is on point, making this an engaging and worthwhile section of the game.
In Chapter 3, titled Love Makes the World Go Around, it's winter time, and we'll be explaining the Santa missions in Scholarship Edition, as ultimately they go nowhere and don't progress the story. They're not fun or funny, so I'll stick to the main storyline here. Jimmy, now with the respect of the bullies, the preps, and somewhat from the nerds, now sets his sights on the greasers, led by the paranoid and dangerous Johnny Vincent, who proves himself as someone not to be messed with. The driving factor behind every event that takes place within this slice of the story is Johnny's girlfriend Lola, the local bicycle. In the beginning, Jimmy and Johnny seem to get on well, albeit under a bit of tension from Lola's antics. Johnny asks Jimmy to do him a favour and get evidence of Lola cheating on him with Gord, one of the rich kids. Jimmy then gets photos of the two holding hands, kissing, and Gord giving Lola gifts like chocolate and flowers. This upsets Johnny, and honestly, I can't help but feel bad for the guy. Having someone he loves that deeply run around with other guys is just heartbreaking. If it weren't for this, I could honestly see Jimmy and Johnny being friends, but Lola just has to be Lola. Jimmy lures Gord and some of the other rich kids to the bike park, where Johnny and his boys are waiting for them with an ambush. Jimmy helps the greasers beat up the preps, and then they just leave them there. The preps are upset with Jimmy due to the harsh treatment they've been getting from the greasers without Jimmy stepping in to do anything, as after all, Jimmy did say he was in charge. So armed with spray paint, he makes his way to New Coventry and starts tagging the area with insults targeted at the greasers. It's only now we learn to tag, which feels a little late in the game to learn this, but it is what it is. Ernest begs Jimmy to help Algie, who's foolishly been hanging around with Lola, ignorant of the fact that Johnny could literally kill him if he caught him. Jimmy helps Cornelius with some greasers who interrogated him for Algie's location, and look who just so happens to be with them. It's Gary stirring the pot and plotting things in the background. Cornelius lied, however, telling them Algie was at the pizza parlour, when in fact he was in New Coventry. Jimmy makes his way there to find Algie and Chad simping for Lola, who is less than kind to Algie and tries to sweet talk Chad out of $100. Jimmy explains they gotta go, and the three hop on bikes just as the greasers arrive. Algie rides a girl's bike, while Chad cycles another bike with Jimmy on the back, fending off the greasers who happen to be in hot pursuit. Eventually, they make it back to the school safely, and Jimmy's standing with the greasers is getting worse by the minute. Eventually, Jimmy and Johnny race for Lola's favour, as initially Jimmy didn't care about Lola for whatever reason he briefly does now. And after winning the race, Jimmy helps out Lola, who isn't on good terms with Johnny and his boys. She left her belongings in their hangout spot, the tenements, and needs Jimmy to go and collect them for her. Jimmy sneaks in, beats up every greaser in sight, gets Lola's belongings, fights Norton, who has a goddamn sledgehammer, and makes his way back to Lola for a little smoochity smooch. After all this, Jimmy finds out the Preps and Greasers have went to an all-out war in New Coventry. After beating up Vance, Lefty and Peanut, Jimmy demands Johnny's location, while stating he's now in charge of the Greasers. Johnny shows up enraged and puts Jimmy on his ass with a haymaker. Just as the cops show up, Jimmy chases Johnny on bikes with the police in chase, and they both end up losing the cops and fight at the dump. Petey helps Jimmy by turning on the magnet, which lifts Johnny's bike and metal pipe, which leaves him having to fight Jimmy one-on-one in a fair fight. After Jimmy wins, Johnny gives up and says Jimmy can have Lola, but Jimmy states he doesn't care about Lola, which leaves Johnny shocked, asking why he did what he did. Was it all just to prove Jimmy was tougher than him? And Jimmy says that's right and not to forget it. Chapter 3 ends with Jimmy in charge of the bullies, the preps and the greasers, with a lot of respect from the nerds. Chapter 3 really took the story in an interesting direction, with great themes and maybe my favourite chapter. Ultimately, it sets Jimmy in a forward motion for what comes next in Chapter 4.
Chapter 4, A Healthy Mind, A Healthy Body, and Other Lies, starts in the springtime with a conversation between Petey and Jimmy. The brilliance of the comedic timing and character writing really is on full display here. By this point, Gary has totally ditched Petey for his grand scheme, but even though Jimmy has conquered the nerds, preppies, and greasers, he still talks to Petey, and despite what Petey walks away thinking, I feel like Jimmy messes with him because they are friends, and that's how Jimmy acts with his friends. It may appear weird because we haven't seen what it looks like yet when Jimmy actually has friends, but the writers took the time to show this bit of character growth and I really appreciate it.
I think... Whatever, Jimmy. You know, I stand up for you and you still think I'm a dork. You're a jerk.
And you're a dork, so we're equal.
Whatever. I'm leaving. Ow!
Now maybe next time you'll watch where you're going.
What'd you do that for?
Oh, I'm sorry, Psycho. Did I hit your boyfriend?
Yeah, Psycho, you gonna try to kick our asses now?
No, I think I'll do that more publicly.
Ooh, I'm really scared right now, really scared. I take down linebackers every day, pal.
Whatever, pretty boy. You'll get yours.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Ouch. Go have some fun in the communal showers. Ooh, I just dropped my soap. Please pick it up for me.
Dad.
Losers. Petey, get up.
Jimmy,
I think we found some new people to have some fun with.
Anyways, moving on. Jimmy has his sights set on his next clique to take down, the Jocks. Jimmy tries to enlist the help of the nerds, but they have suddenly and mysteriously turned against him. Petey advises Jimmy to go after Ernest Jones, the nerd leader. Jimmy fights his way through a country area behind the school down to the abandoned observatory. Winning Ernest over, Jimmy allows him to plan the assault on the Jocks. Ernest promptly gets Jimmy in trouble when he asks for risque pictures of head cheerleader Mandy, then blows them up into full-size pictures a la The Office.
Mike, you a rock star, man. You are the man.
Jimmy also has to fend off a jock assault on the observatory. Later, Jimmy sees Mandy on the bleachers upset about the risque pictures of her. Feeling guilty, Jimmy covers them up, thus winning Mandy over. And we'll just ignore the fact that he was the one who got those pictures. Anyway.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next product.
This won't be the last time the nerds need saving though. Funhouse Fun is a side mission during this chapter that sees the nerds try and pull a prank on the Jocks only to have it backfire. Jimmy has to go to the carnival and stop the Jocks from destroying Fatty and Bucky. Mr. Galloway also reappears at this point in the story. Going to the art room, Jimmy learns from Miss Phillips that Hattrick had manipulated Galloway into admitting himself to Happy Volt's asylum to detox. Jimmy has to go to the asylum and break Galloway out. Once Jimmy makes it to the asylum, a small cutscene where Miss Phillips' car pulls up shows, and she thanks Jimmy for doing this. Jimmy now has to go into the asylum and talk to Galloway. After breaking in, Otto tells Jimmy about the Watcher, and Jimmy knocks out the red light. The mission ends when Jimmy enters the asylum, sneaks past the guards, and reaches Galloway's cell. Galloway talks about how he hates himself and has given up, but upon hearing Miss Phillips is waiting for him, he agrees to follow Jimmy out of the asylum. Ernest finally comes up with a good plan, to sabotage the big football game. Jimmy steals the mascot costume and infiltrates the Jocks that way. He pees in the water cooler, puts super glue on the bench and marbles all over the field, and rigs footballs with explosives. That is not at all an overreaction or anything like that. What's this? Taking it too far? Nah, we've never heard of that.
I may have gone too far in a few places.
In the end, Jimmy unmasks and fights Ted, throwing the explosive rigged footballs at his defenders and eventually sacking him. Petey joins him on the football field, exclaiming that now that Jimmy has beaten the Jocks in front of the entire school, he runs the place. I absolutely love this chapter. All the seeds that Jimmy has been planting in the previous chapter are starting to flower and grow. While Gary has been running around using lies and manipulation to try and grow his status, Jimmy has been using his actions to show people what he is about. It's so cool to see the nerds getting to be badasses in this chapter. They've been picked on by every clique throughout the game, and now they get to demonstrate that brains are not always weaker than brawn. Like I said earlier, one of the endearing qualities of this game is getting to fight back against the bullies and be the hero that the player couldn't necessarily be in real life at the time. And to see the nerd clique get a moment to shine and be critical to Jimmy's success puts a smile on my little four-eyed heart, because Jimmy couldn't have beaten the jocks alone, and the jocks are the only clique that Jimmy needed help taking down. The game could have easily had the fighting preppies or greasers team up and be your army, and it could have been some big fight on the football field, but I think it shows one of the points of this game that the devs were trying to get across. Don't count out the physically weak.
Ah yes, we're entering into our final chapter of the game. Yes, I know there's chapter 6, but the story ends here, so shut up. Chapter 5, titled The Rise and Fall of Jimmy Hopkins, aged 15, begins shortly after the big game. We see Jimmy is now the most popular lad in school, and he's got all the clique leaders eating from the palm of his hand. Things couldn't be better for Jimmy, but not everyone is thrilled. Pete tries to warn Jimmy that Gary is up to something big, and Jimmy should get to the bottom of it. However, Jimmy brushes it off as he's now king of the school. He's worked hard all year, and Gary is a pathetic weasel who couldn't possibly mess anything up for him. Jimmy, now feeling like he's invincible, comes to the conclusion that he should tag graffiti on Town Hall at the approval of the clique leaders. However, his clever choice of words being Bulworth and worthless ends up royally pissing off everyone in town. And upon arriving back at school, everyone now hates Jimmy apart from Pete, Russell and the bullies. This is the beginning of Jimmy's downfall, and we're not really given an answer as to why everyone has lost all respect for him, but we soon find out.
I know the answer is told to us, but even before it was, this is a criticism I have with movies and media when they have bosses that lead by intimidation. Jimmy spent the game becoming the alpha of every clique through violence and intimidation. When you assert your dominance over others through force, it really shouldn't surprise you that you wouldn't have anyone truly loyal to you when you're challenged. Jimmy spray painting City Hall and pissing off the town was the excuse that the school needed to turn on Jimmy. I always saw this as a good lesson in leading with compassion as opposed to strength.
Yeah, great point. You can't exactly expect someone to respect you 100% through violence. Between that, Jimmy tagging Town Hall, and some of the things he's framed for, which I'll explain, I think it's a combination, and Gary pulling strings behind the scenes definitely didn't help his case. Anyways, Jimmy makes his way over to the library to find the nerds cowering in fear, but not of the bullies or the jocks, but because the library has been infested with rats, and Jimmy gets the blame for it. He then makes his way into the library and kills all the rats, which appear to have arrived inside a delivery of new books. The nerds still blame Jimmy and still continue to not respect him, even after saving the day. Jimmy then makes his way over to the gym, where Mr. Burton and the jocks blame him for setting the gym on fire, while Mr. Burton proclaims his love of bullying.
To stop the bullying. Ha! Bullying? I don't care about bullying. In fact, I encourage bullying.
That's right.
Builds moral fiber. Makes men.
You fucking crazy, man. You sound insane. Do you realize that? You should be medicated.
Jimmy makes his way inside to save trapped students and put out the fires. After Jimmy speaks with Mandy, who tells him she's seen the person responsible as heading downstairs, he makes his way down toward the changing rooms, only to be attacked by a fleeing townie who runs from the gym shouting that he regrets nothing. Jimmy makes his way to New Coventry to find Lola and Norton arguing over the whereabouts of Johnny Vincent, but turn the blame from each other to Jimmy. And for someone who loves getting poked, Lola sure knows how to poke, if you get what I mean. Anyways, Jimmy runs off to Happy Vault Asylum to break Johnny out, and we get to play this creepy, mysterious mission inside the asylum, avoiding the orderlies and navigating our way through the asylum while some disturbing ambience can be heard is just the best. Jimmy breaks Johnny out, and he said townies told him they basically put Lola on the casting couch all at the same time, and it sent him a little crazy. From there, Jimmy makes his way through Blue Skies, where he meets Zoe, the townie dropout girl, and right off the bat, there's love in the air. They both decide Mr. Burton is a disgusting piece of shit and deserves some payback for being a creepy, arrogant, and hateful douchebag. Jimmy gets some bolt cutters and meets Zoe at the park. Zoe takes the bolt cutters and cuts the chains between each porta potty, while Jimmy destroys all the other porta potties, leaving Mr. Burton with only one option: to use the porta potty at the top of the hill. When he locks himself inside, Jimmy jumps on the lawnmower and...
Oh my God! Corn! I didn't have corn for dinner! Oh, this is awful! Oh, yuck! God damn, I stink! I'm gonna have to shower for days with bleach! This is worse than when I got hazed!
Mr. Burton is as disgusting on the outside as he is on the inside, and I thought that was impossible considering just how sexy Mr. Burton is. Jimmy and Zoe go on a date, but not like Jimmy's date with Pinky to the carnival. No, they go to a Spencer shipping warehouse and destroy everything in sight. Although it technically isn't a date, and Zoe kinda flat out rejects Jimmy and makes fun of his clothes right before it. I mean, come on, it's a goddamn date. Also, quick side note, this isn't a main story mission. It can be completed in chapter 6, but it fits best here in my opinion. Jimmy makes his way to the preppies' boxing gym, where they blame him for stealing their boxing trophies. But after Jimmy states it wasn't him, they turn the blame and are hell-bent on beating up the greasers. And of course, they hate Jimmy more than ever. Jimmy makes his way to New Coventry and asks some of the greasers if they stole the trophies, after explaining they no longer care about the preppies and want revenge on the townies for getting Johnny sent off to the asylum. Jimmy makes his way to Blue Skies and enters the Spencer shipping warehouse and gets pictures of the townies putting rats inside crates filled with books, which explains the library for anyone who didn't already put that one together. And from there he makes his way to the docks and gets pictures of the townies burning the preppies' boxing trophies. Jimmy returns to the preps with the evidence, but in true preppy fashion, they behave like stuck-up asshats and refuse to believe Jimmy or even look at the photos he took. Jimmy helps out Mr. Galloway one last time by getting photo evidence of Mr. Hattrick selling test answers to pupils, and gives them to Dr. Crabblesnitch just before Mr. Galloway is fired for drinking. Dr. Crabblesnitch fires Hattrick, and Mr. Galloway keeps his job and is let off with a warning. When Jimmy wakes up the following morning, Miss Danvers announces he's wanted in Dr. Crabblesnitch's office. He makes his way there, and if things already seemed bad for poor old Jimmy, well, they just got worse.
Hopkins. Now, I'm not one to give in to popular sentiment.
You can tell that by your clothes.
What?
I'm saying you dress great.
Irrelevant. As I said, I am not a people pleaser, but in your case, I'm going to make an exception.
An exception? Cool.
Yes, you are without a doubt the least popular boy in the school right now. Even that fat child who wets himself is more popular than you. Coincidentally, it has also come to my attention that you are a filthy, dirty, foul-mouthed, awful little vandal.
Yeah, well, we already knew that.
Very droll. A comedian till the end. Well, you'll have to pursue your comedic talents elsewhere, boy. Bullworth is not for you.
I'm not the one who's funny. You know what's funny? You. You're a joke, you old creep. You and your stuck-up, lame-ass school, with its bullies and sex-pest teachers. This place is a dump, and you're a big-nosed freak. This school rewards losers and bullies. I just stand up to them.
You painted obscene graffiti on the town hall, boy. I have it on good authority it was you.
Oh yeah? Then who squealed? Tell me that.
A commendable pupil did feel the need to tell me you were responsible for this outrage.
Gary Smith! Look, I may have painted a few jokes on the town hall, but that kid likes to torture people.
Gary Smith is the next head of this school. He's responsible, courteous, and not afraid of being an unpopular leader.
You are blind, old man, blind!
And you are leaving. I tried to contact your mother, but she's still off on a cruise. Until I hear from her, I will have to let you stay here in your room. But you may not wear the school uniform or attend classes.
Gotta be kidding
You are
me.
leaving the academy to attend to your education elsewhere. Now get out!
Whatever, man.
Jimmy explains to Pete that he tried to do the right thing. He tried to stop all the fighting and bring order to the school, and that he can't deal with the fact that Guy beat him in the end. Pete says Jimmy's acting like a baby, but Jimmy explains to him that he's been expelled and is just waiting for his mother to return from her 58th honeymoon, and then he's out of there. Pete convinces Jimmy to take on all the townies and get to the bottom of what's going on. Jimmy agrees and states he needs backup from someone who's big and doesn't hate him. Guess who?
Russell!
Jimmy makes his way to Russell's house, and it turns out Russell stole a police bike, and Jimmy hops on a Vespa, and the two make their way to Blue Sky's power plant, where Russell proceeds to just drive through the locked gates. Jimmy makes his way into the plant grounds, where Russell takes off fleeing from the cops, and Zoe shows up asking Jimmy if he's out of his mind. He explains that he needs to speak with Edgar, the leader of the townies, and Zoe agrees to help him out. After fighting a bunch of the townies and making their way around the plant, Jimmy makes his way inside to face off against Edgar, who's wielding a huge metal pipe. Jimmy uses a metal panel as a shield to defend himself from Edgar and throw the occasional blow until Edgar runs deeper into the power plant, where he and Jimmy finish what they started. Both armed with pipes, they kick the crap out of each other and Jimmy wins.
Not enough? You want some more? Come on, big guy. You still think messing with me is a good idea?
No.
Good. That's what I thought. Now, what made you think it was a good idea in the first place?
Aw, man. I hate that school. My parents couldn't afford to send me there, and now I'm stuck in this dump of a town. Gary said we make them all pay.
Wait a second. Gary? That backstabbing, two-faced sociopath put you up to this? I bet he said the two of you would take over the school or some crap.
Hey, how'd you know?
Because he told me the same garbage. Didn't do me any good either. Come on. You're gonna help me make him pay for his lies.
Jimmy helps Russell escape the cops who are swarming the place, and the two meet up with Edgar and his boys at the school, where they come up with a plan. Russell and Jimmy focus on taking out each clique leader, while Edgar and the townies kick the crap out of everyone else. The school is in complete mayhem. It's utter pandemonium. Jimmy, one by one, kicks the crap out of Ernest, Derby, Johnny, and Ted with the help of Russell. Afterwards, Jimmy and Russell meet back up with Edgar in the main building, where he just finished off some of the bullies, and Jimmy tells him to go outside and try calm things down while he deals with Gary. The prefects jump Jimmy and steal all of his weapons, and Russell comes to the rescue, chasing the prefects off. Gary shouts through the school announcement system that Jimmy is human trash, then shows himself on the stairs, and Jimmy makes chase. They wind up on the rooftops of the school, and Gary has the upper hand, being able to throw bricks at Jimmy while he makes his way over narrow scaffolding. Jimmy eventually catches up, and Gary has a full psychotic meltdown on the roof.
The thing is, if I win, you're just another punk! You win, and you'll be sent away even quicker for beating up the head boy!
Why'd you do it, Gary?
Because I can! Because making little people like you and the morons who run this place eat out of the palm of my hand feels great!
But I never did anything to you!
You would've if I'd given you the chance! Face it, I'm smarter than you!
Oh, congratulations! You're smarter than me! You hate everyone and everyone hates you! Genius!
The head likes me! I tied him up, turned his dumb school into a battleground, got kids expelled unfairly, put several others into therapy, and he still likes me!
You're such a loser!
Well, at least my mom doesn't make her living on her back!
You're dead!
Whoa!
Jimmy and Gary fight, and everything we've done in the game has been leading to this point. Everything feels very final, and while they fight, Gary explains everything he's been doing behind the scenes, while Jimmy was off goofing and fighting. Jimmy wins and throws Gary through the glass roof in Dr. Crabblesnitch's office.
Smith! I heard the whole thing! You're expelled! Come and untie me, boy!
Yes, sir! Sorry, didn't see you there.
You know, I think I may have judged you too unfairly, boy. Yes, a little rough around the edges, but you're a diamond, boy. A diamond.
Thank you, sir.
Now take out the trash, would you, Hopkins?
My pleasure.
So it was you who took on this monstrous little wretch, was it?
Yep.
What a hero. A lone wolf.
Uh-huh. Well, no. To be honest, sir, I did have a lot of help from some friends. Like this girl, Zoe. She got expelled because she complained about Mr. Burton hitting on her.
Burton? Well, he's fired. I hope he rots in hell.
And a guy named Peter Kowalski, good friend of mine.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, well, he keeps quiet. He's kind of shy.
Shy? The boy must be a genius. Why, he should be head of the school.
Pete? Great idea. Now about that letter to my mother.
What letter?
With Gary expelled and Jimmy and Zoe reinstated as pupils of Bulworth, everyone's respect for Jimmy is restored, the story ends with everyone at peace and all problems resolved. Jimmy and Zoe are now an item, and Edna remains the sexiest member of staff. We enter summertime, and it's just so cool to see everything end in just the right way.
So I know that Cortex blew you guys off about Chapter 6, but if you are looking for Candyland and Bully, Chapter 6 is worth getting to. Like was mentioned, it is a free roaming segment where you can finish up any classes in case you didn't finish them during the main game. Don't worry, on my first playthrough I'd only done about half the classes at this point, but it's also a time to reap the fruits of your labor. If you did finish all the classes, the bell ringing is of no bother to you, and you can run around the school or town doing whatever you see fit. I personally like to use it to hunt down any of the G&G cards, smash any gnomes, grab those last pesky rubber bands, or if for some reason you somehow haven't found all the transistors to send the old man into space, now is the time to grab them.
Of course you'd leave all this stuff to after the main game. I have Jimmy fully upgraded by the end of chapter 1 / start of chapter 2, and I make my way around that school and town like a goddamn pimp. Chapter 6 is great. For me personally, this is where I'd play Bully like GTA, when you jump on to do like literally anything and everything apart from the main story. In conclusion, Bully is just a superior game over any GTA that I've played up to this point by far, in my opinion. The characters and writing, the charm and wit, and the cleverness of it all, and the amazing design of every aspect in game, including the soundtrack, which I haven't mentioned yet, but you've been listening to it throughout the whole video. The soundtrack is phenomenally creative and original. It really brings the character of the game out in full force, as any good soundtrack should.
Seriously, for a PS2 game, it's incredible how dynamic the soundtrack is. I feel like something I do when I get bored in a lot of modern games is I'll start messing with it a bit and seeing if I can trigger any funny glitches, and it's so funny in modern games to confuse the game by hopping in and out of a car to trigger the in-game music or radio, or if the sound is meant to change from one room to another and it ends up breaking. But Bully is coded really well to pick up what you're doing in the game. I tried to glitch it out myself in the Scholarship Edition, and it was consistent at every turn, and you can bet your left buttock that when the clock strikes 1 AM everything slows down, including the music.
Every clique has their own theme, and different missions have different themes too. The OST is vast, and it manages to sound different from track to track, but related at the same time. I remember growing up playing GTA games, and one day I seen my older brother playing Bully, but I never got the chance to play it for whatever reason. Then, in my early teen years, I stumbled upon videos of Bully on YouTube, and that opened the floodgates. I remember begging my mother to buy me the game, and she had the reaction of, "Calm down, it's not like you're asking for a new car, it's cheap, go buy the game." I was ecstatic. I bought the game, waited for it to download, and when those Rockstar logos popped up on screen, I knew straight away that I was in for one hell of a ride. I have played this game more times than I can count, and the most outstanding thing to me is that I never get bored of it, and there's a select number of games I can do that with, thus making Bully one of my top 5 favourite games of all time. While I do love GTA to bits, I can find myself getting bored of it after a while, whereas with Bully it's just too golden for me to throw away.
Man, reaching the conclusion of this video, I gotta say, this has really been a full circle moment for me. I first played Bully when I was 10 years old at a friend's house. Because of the T rating, I wasn't allowed to play it, and we stayed up all night getting to, I think, chapter 4 before passing out. I told my mom about it, but I guess I didn't mention the title because we went to the game store and she took one look at the title and the back cover and said no, and I didn't get to buy it. 8 years later, I saw it on the Xbox store on sale, and I was like, I remember really liking that game when I played it that one time. I bought it, and I spent the next 3 weeks 100% my first full playthrough of the game. It clicked with me more than any other Rockstar game I had played up to that point. I really wish I could have articulated as a kid why I wanted the game so bad, and it's for the reasons that Cortex graciously let me highlight throughout this video. Bully isn't about being an asshole. Bully is about fighting back against assholes and standing up for those who can't stand up for themselves. Only Red Dead Redemption has been able to equal such a mature theme for a video game story by Rockstar. But what sets Bully above Red Dead or GTA is it managed to pull all of this off with a T rating. That kind of writing talent just isn't present anymore, and it's why, to me, Bully deserves to be set above any other Rockstar title.
Now, if only Rockstar would wake up and smell the hot coffee and make a Bully 2 or a Bully remaster would be nice. Also, just show this neglected child of yours some damn love, Rockstar.
Or at least a working PC port, Rockstar.
Now then, that took ages, and there were points in the editing room where I wanted to rip my hair out, but overall, I couldn't have enjoyed making this video more. What about you, Switch?
Are you kidding? This has been an honor to be a part of. I'm so used to being the only person at the table advocating for Bully while everyone talks about GTA and Red Dead. So it's been such a fun experience getting to collaborate with someone willing to just go on and on about Bully.
Red Dead. Wink wink. Well, it's been an honor to have you, my friend, but it's time to get out now. You've outstayed your welcome. Come on, shoo. I said leave, damn it.
I'm getting kind of tired. I don't want to be rude, but if it's okay with you, I'm gonna head out now. I have other things to work on, and my aloe vera plant needs watered. By the way, it stinks in here. Anyways, bye!
Well, now that he's off to take care of that aloe vera plant, I've got one last message for you guys. If any of you made it this far, thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to get a free old man on a free trip to Bulworth, and comment down below your thoughts on Bully. And also, be sure to check out Switch Talker's channel too, link in the description below. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. Now, I'm off to break my neighbour's hip in bed. She's 80 years old.